I am Napoleon Hill, and I have spent my entire life standing at the crossroads of failure and achievement. I have looked into the eyes of 500 of the greatest men this world has ever known, men like Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and Thomas Edison, and I have searched for the common thread that binds their greatness. I found that the secret is not in their pockets, but in their minds. I want you to understand a truth that few ever grasp. The only thing over which you have absolute, unchallengeable control is your own mental attitude. Your mind is a spiritual workshop where you can either manufacture the tools of your success or the chains of your misery. When I speak of the alchemy of the dawn, I am speaking of the moment you take command of that workshop. You see, the person who waits for the world to wake up before they start their engine has already lost the advantage of initiative. I have observed that every master of achievement began their day by seizing control of their mental atmosphere before the external world could interfere. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve, but belief requires a mind that is clear, focused, and free from the clutter of the crowd. This clarity is found only in the silence of the early morning. You are the master of your earthly destiny because you have the power to influence your own subconscious mind. But the subconscious is most receptive when the body is disciplined and the ego is quiet. If you do not conquer self, you will be conquered by self. Waking up while the world is still dark is your first act of self-conquest for the day. It is the proof that you have a definite purpose and a burning desire that is stronger than the temporary comfort of a warm bed. The world does not pay you for what you know, but for what you do with what you know. And what you must do is stand at the gates of your morning and declare yourself the captain of your soul. The ladder of success is never crowded at the top because most people are too busy sleeping to climb it. By the time the average person starts their day, the person of achievement has already organized their thoughts, visualized their victory, and taken the first step toward their goal. Do not let your thoughts be dictated by the morning news or the demands of others. Instead, use the dawn to plant the seeds of your own greatness. It is your own thoughts that will determine if you climb that ladder or remain at the bottom in the shadows of mediocrity. Your resurrection begins at the moment you decide that your dreams are worth more than your sleep. The world is currently draped in a heavy velvet silence. Outside your window, the stars are beginning to pale, and the trees stand like silent sentinels breathing in the coolness of the deep night. While the rest of humanity is lost in the subconscious fog of dreams, a small percentage of souls are stirring. They are answering a call that does not come from an alarm clock, but from the very center of their being. You are here because you have felt that tug. You are here because you realize that the pillow is a thief and the blanket is a shroud that buries your potential. To wake up early, specifically in those hours before the sun breaks the horizon, is not a productivity hack. It is an act of spiritual rebellion. In the ancient texts, this time is referred to as the station of light. There is a specific frequency to the earth in the deep morning. The air is chemically different because it is saturated with a purity that the day's chaos has not yet polluted. When you stand in the stillness of the dawn, you are standing in a sanctuary. There is no noise from the highway, no pings from a smartphone, and no demands from others. In this vacuum of noise, the voice of the Creator becomes audible. In this silence, the whispers of your own soul finally rise to the surface. Across every civilization, the hours before sunrise have been marked as holy. This is not a coincidence, but a recognition of a universal law. In ancient traditions, this is the time of purity when the mind is like a clear lake, undisturbed by the winds of desire. To study or pray during this time is to plant seeds in the most fertile soil imaginable. There is a divine intimacy in the early hours. The world sees your public life, but the dawn sees your true heart. By waking up early, you join a global historical lineage of greatness. You are standing on the shoulders of every saint, warrior, and philosopher who knew that victory is prepared in the dark. The air feels thicker with possibility because your spirit is most expanded just as you wake. During deep sleep, the soul detaches slightly from the heavy burdens of the physical form. When you wake up early and remain in stillness, you catch the soul before it fully settles back into the stresses of the ego. In these moments, you are in a state of active receptivity. Your brain is in a state of deep suggestion and healing. This is why thoughts in the early morning are more powerful than thoughts in the evening. At the end of the day, your thoughts are reactions to the world, but at the start of the day, your thoughts are commands to the universe. To occupy this space effectively, you must move from being awake to being intentional. The transition from sleep should be a baptism. Washing away the night's dreams with water and deep breathing ignites an inner fire. Spend time in absolute silence. Do not think, but simply listen. The universe is a broadcast, but most people are too loud to hear the signal. Words spoken at dawn are like iron heated in a furnace that can be shaped into a new reality. Use your voice to define your destiny before the world tries to define it for you. Most people believe that waking up early is a matter of luck or personality, but it is actually a matter of psychological design. You must realize that your mind is a fortress, and the early morning is when you reinforce the gates. When the sun is down the whir, LD is quiet, but your internal critic is also less active. This creates a window of opportunity to reprogram your self-image. If you can master the first hour of the day, you develop a sense of psychological invincibility that carries you through every hardship. This is the winner's effect in action. When you achieve a difficult goal before breakfast, your brain releases a surge of confidence that makes the rest of your problems seem small by comparison. You are no longer reacting to life, you are leading it. Discipline is not a punishment you inflict upon yourself. It is a gift you give to your future self. It is the highest form of self-love. When you choose to leave the warmth of the bed, you are signaling to your subconscious that your goals are more important than your comfort. This builds a muscle of grit that most people never develop. In a world that is addicted to instant gratification and easy hits of dopamine, the person who can voluntarily choose discomfort is the person who will eventually own the world. You must view the early morning as a training ground for your character. If you can govern your body in the dark, you can govern your business, your family, and your emotions in the light. This is how you move from being a dreamer to being an architect. You stop wishing for a better life and you start constructing it brick by brick in the silence of the dawn. The psychology of the head start is a powerful force. When you begin your work while others are sleeping, you remove the anxiety of competition. There is a profound sense of peace that comes from knowing you are ahead of the clock. This peace allows for a level of deep work and creativity that is impossible during the noisy hours of the afternoon. Your brain's prefrontal cortex is most fresh in these moments. You can solve complex problems in minutes that would take hours later in the day. This is the blueprint for a life of excellence. You are not just working harder, you are working in a higher state of consciousness. To sustain this habit, you must change the narrative you tell yourself about sleep. Sleep is not a loss of time, but a preparation for battle. However, oversleeping is a slow poison that numbs your ambition. You must become protective of your morning time as if it were a physical treasure. Do not let the digital world invade this space. The moment you check your phone, you have handed over the keys to your fortress to other people's agendas. Keep the first hour for yourself. This is the time to plan your legacy and to visualize the person you are becoming. By the time the rest of the world wakes up and begins their frantic race, you will have already finished your most important work. You will move through the day with a calm authority because you have already conquered the most difficult opponent you will ever face. The final transformation occurs when the habit of the early morning ceases to be a chore and becomes your destiny. When you consistently master the dawn, you change the chemical and energetic signature of your life. You begin to operate on a different wavelength than the masses. This long-term commitment creates a legacy of intentionality that influences every person you touch. Because you have spent time in the silence, your words carry more weight. Because you have conquered your own laziness, your presence commands respect. You become a lighthouse for those who are still lost in the fog of reactive living. Your life becomes a testament to the fact that greatness is not an accident of birth, but a result of what one does when no one is watching. The legacy of the early riser is measured in the expansion of time. By reclaiming these hours, you effectively add years of conscious life to your journey. While others complain that life is too short, you are living a life that is deep and wide. This extra space allows you to cultivate talents that others ignore and to build foundations that others find too exhausting to start. As the years pass, this lifestyle shifts your perspective on mortality and purpose. You realize that every morning is a mini resurrection. You are given a fresh canvas and a new chance to get it right. This awareness brings a profound sense of gratitude. You no longer take your days for granted because you have seen the birth of so many of them. You have watched the transition from darkness to light thousands of times, and that rhythm has become a part of your DNA. You become a person of high vibration, attracting opportunities, ND, people that align with your discipline. The ripple effect extends to your family who see your consistency and to your community which benefits from your clarity. You are teaching the world how to live with fire and focus. Ultimately, the goal of waking up early is to reach a state where your life is a continuous prayer. You move from the alchemy of the morning into the alchemy of a lifetime. The distinction between your spiritual time and your work time begins to vanish. You carry the stillness of the dawn into the heat of the boardroom and the noise of the street. You have found the center of the storm. This is the ultimate victory of the early riser. You have not just beaten the clock, you have transcended it. You have become a theo-creator with the universe standing at the edge of the morning, ready to lead the world into a new light. Your journey started with a simple choice to get out of bed, but it ends with a soul that is fully awake, fully alive, and forever changed.